This is the Extensionists, Conversations with Great Thinkers in Agriculture. I'm Toban Dyck.
And I'm Jay Whetter. Hey, Toban.
Hey, Jay.
How's it going?
Good. So
What did we do?
what did we do? We had our first live taping at Ag Days in Brandon.
Yeah, I liked that.
I did too.
I mean, there were things that we could do better, probably. I think it was so Ag Days was having trouble all the way along with their audio, and I think it happened to us a bit.
And their weather,
right, Abby? Oh yeah, it's freezing, so cold,
stormy.
minus 30 something and stormy. Yeah. I was at Arlene Dickinson the next day after we recorded our podcast.
I forgot she was there.
Yeah, so they had headset mics on, and within the first 10 seconds, they'd taken them off and they'd gone to a handheld. And then Scott Perkin, who is the host, he was asking the questions of Arlene. So they're just sharing a mic, and then someone from the crowd asked a question. So Scott ran up into the crowd to give them their mic to ask the question.
Yeah,
but Arlene had no mic. So then he had to go trotting down all the way back down.
He's with one mic trying to cover
So
everybody.
then they quickly jumped in with various other mics. But
Sure.
I was just thinking, man, that could have been done a little better. But I don't want to be too critical, because I think the fact they can pull off Ag Days as well as they do is pretty amazing. And you
Huge show.
You need to trust your AV people to take care of your audio. But
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
For sure.
So besides that, Des was great, and she was like a pro, and I've probably learned some enunciation skills, or what was the term that Merle Massey said to me? Project.
What was the context?
Well, she was she wanted to she was in the audience for our live recording.
Yeah, for sure.
And she wanted to yell out to me to project my voice.
Really, eh?
Yeah. Because Des can project, because she's got that radio TV approach.
Yeah.
And I guess I was probably mumbling like I am prone to do. And
it's funny
people
because
couldn't hear me.
I would never say that about your voice.
No, maybe I just wasn't speaking loud enough into my mic, or maybe I just didn't have a good enough mic. Maybe she had a better mic than us.
Maybe that's true. Yeah.
Because I did feel like I was projecting when I did my farmer panel, but it was a handheld mic.
Oh yeah. So
and you and I are used to being like this.
Yes.
Where we're kind of side by side talking to each other. We don't realize we've got a room of thousands of people listening to us.
That's right. So that's the other thing about my takeaway from it. I mean, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was one of those things where there was so many. So there was a stormy day.
Yeah.
So Abby and I drove in together. Not super awesome weather. There was a bit of nerves, a bit of anxiety about Des being able to make it. Right.
Yeah.
Cold, and then on the heels of a really busy conference season. So it was Ag Days is sandwiched between, I don't know where I was before Ag Days and where I was going after, in Edmonton and Saskatoon and wherever, right? So it's just a busy time.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I wasn't as present as I would have liked to have been at that taping.
Right.
But I am quite, I'm happy we did it.
Yeah.
I'm certainly happy we have that first one kind of under our belt, and I think we'll come into the second one with carrying that experience for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Today we're talking to Mohamad Yaghi, which will be a very interesting conversation. I met Mohamad. We had coffee in Toronto.
How did you meet him though?
Well, so he was, and we'll get to this, I'm thinking probably. He works for FCC now, but he was with RBC at that time, and was one of their thought leaders. So they had this branded thought leadership in agriculture.
Yeah.
And I was in Toronto, and I thought, hey, I want to talk to this guy. And so I just sent him a note and said, any chance you're available for a coffee? And we met at this beautiful coffee shop in one of the Bay Street towers. Marble floor. This is the lobby. It was in the lobby. Huge 30-foot ceilings, nice comfy chairs all over the place. I think we ended up actually having our coffee outside in February.
Oh, wow.
It was about 12 degrees. So it was
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Anyway,
how did you know to talk to him? Like, what was that?
just because his name was on some of these thought leadership information that they were sending around.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's a really neat connection.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
awesome.
So here we are now that he's with FCC, and I don't think I saw him, but I did send him an email and thought we should have him on the podcast.
Oh, fantastic. Looking forward to it.
Well, let's get to it.
Let's do it. But before we start today's interview, we want to thank our episode sponsor, Sask Oilseeds.
Sask Oilseeds is currently recruiting farmer cooperators for their 2026 on-farm research trials program.
In the program's third year, Sask Oilseeds on-farm research trials reached new heights and expanded significantly, a testament to the program's impactful contributions to the farming community.
The program started in 2023 with 1 protocol and 10 sites. Then in 2024 had 4 protocols and 23 sites, and grew again to 7 protocols and 31 sites in 2025.
By investing in research applicable at the farm level, Sask Oilseeds emphasizes its commitment to growing producer prosperity.
The goal of the program is to actively seek input from farmers and agronomists to shape future projects and cultivate a collaborative network between Sask Oilseeds, farmers, agronomists, and research specialists.
Why participate in on-farm research trials? Join a network of growers and agronomists who are interested in field-scale research and sharing on-farm results.
Those results are established with your equipment under your farm conditions and management practices to help you make decisions on your farm. A research specialist or agronomist will help support you through every step of the research process and collect data throughout the season.
You'll gain primary access to the results of other on-farm field-scale trials in Saskatchewan. Seize the opportunity. Visit saskoilseeds.com to learn more about becoming a cooperator for the 2026 growing season.
Welcome to the Extensionists. Our guest today is Mohamad Yaghi, and Mohamad is the Vice President of the Innovation Hub and Ag Expert at FCC. Welcome, Mohamad.
Thank you so much for having me.
Did I nail that title?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah,
So
you got it. You were like a bit like cautious about Innovation Hub, but Ag Expert, you nailed it.
yeah, that was it.
Actually, I do want to talk to you about
tricky word for Jay, Ag Expert.
Oh yeah. No, I got Ag Expert. It was the Innovation Hub.
You know that you're the only one I've never done an intro. You do all the intros.
Do I?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I actually write.
You got to switch it up then.
I know, but I'm just like I get nervous. I think I'd be nervous because I've never done it.
Okay. So next time you could try. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Just like fumbling over my words. Just like anyway, go on.
Well, Mohamad, so you've had a long kind of storied, interesting past, and so we want to start in Lebanon.
Storied, interesting past. Yeah, let's go.
Let's get into it.
But you have a family farm in Lebanon, which sounds really exciting. So can you describe...
Which you manage remotely, apparently, right?
Which Toban is really keen on, but I want to just paint a picture of what this farm is and what it looks like. And I was just saying, Toban and I were talking before this about the only news we ever hear from the Middle East is war and disaster. And so I think, I've never been there. Describe for me what the countryside looks like and why it's special for you.
Yeah, and what your farm is like there.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the question. So yeah, Lebanon's an amazing place. I love it. It's great weather. You have a little bit of water. Geopolitically, nailed it in location wise. The business, like they say, location. We really nailed the location there. But the family farm has been with us for a few generations now, and most of when it comes to the vines on the farm, for instance, they were planted by my grandfather and his brother as well, and I got to ask the question, what makes agriculture different? And I think it's just that it's we can pass on in life, right? But in terms of the way just this lineage and transcends to different generations. There's nothing like agriculture because the vines are still living. They still speak the story of my grandparents. So it's something of like it's a very close association to the farm. It's something that draws me back constantly, even though I'm here in Canada. But when it comes to the countryside in Lebanon, it is a mix of beauty but also chaos at the same time. Depending on how you define it, but essentially the land is so storied with multiple civilizations having went through the region. My hometown of Baalbek literally just translate into from I believe Phoenician to city of the sun based on the god Baal, and essentially my hometown has over 300 days of sun per year. Something I wish we could have a little bit more of it here in Canada, but nonetheless, pickers can't be choosers, I guess sometimes.
Yeah.
It has I would argue it has one of the best preserved Roman ruins in the world. It's an amazing site. Why the Romans picked that place to be a site of such huge monuments when it came to construction? It's a massive site.
What is it? What does it look
Temple
like? Yeah.
So there's a few temples. There's Temple of Bacchus, which is the god of wine, of course, as you already know. It's still one of the best preserved. I think maybe that's fundamentally the answer, right? There's a few good things to grow in the region: olives, grapes, and a little bit of hash on the side. But that's what it's mainly known for globally. But even though hash is illegal, of course, but some people do it on the side. But
Sure.
nonetheless. But yeah, so my hometown has these like massive Roman ruins. It's a beautiful place, and when I say civilizations have gone through it, you have the Romans, you have the Phoenicians before them, of course. You have the early Islamic Caliphate, the Crusaders as well. Pick your civilization. They've most likely have gone on a highway there. Even maybe pick Napoleon. I'm sure has gone through there at one point in time.
Yeah, amazing.
So it is a storied place with a lot of history. And so when it comes to the agriculture of the region, it is the quilt of Lebanon, essentially. So my hometown and the farm just outside of it is in the region called the Bekaa Valley. It was basically given to Mount Lebanon. I guess there's a whole history behind it after World War One, when the French had a mandate in the region. They split Syria and Lebanon between the two, and essentially, as a concession to the Mount Lebanon region, they wanted to give them an agricultural piece of land. So my region was carved out just for that agricultural purpose. You see a lot of businesses today have I wouldn't say that when I say the scars, it's not in a derogatory way. It's more of like the decision they made in the 1930s had a huge impact on them. Because let's say one of the biggest wineries in Lebanon, the Chateau Moussar, their headquarters is on the coast of Lebanon. Because they thought that it would, like the Bekaa Valley, where a lot of the grapes are grown, were going to belong to Syria. So essentially, they have like two headquarters essentially just because of that decision that was made decades ago. But nonetheless, it's a beautiful region steeped in too much history sometimes, complicated because because of a lot of different political institutions that have been established in the country. So Lebanon's unique for its confessional governance style. So
confessional
so every position in government is based on your religion. So the president has to be a Maronite Christian, prime minister is Sunni Muslim, and then you go down the list of different religions. So ultimately, in a parliament of 128 seats, they're all divided by different sectarian groups, different Christian groups. Like I know all about different Christian sectarian groups just because of Lebanon. There's way too many.
Wow.
Same thing for Muslims as well. So not to eliminate the Muslims from that equation, but there's a lot of different sectarian groups, and that makes up the government in Lebanon. So much different to Canada, of course. Love that we have a secular system here, but that's a little bit about the country, and we have, I would argue, the best food in the world.
What do you?
There was one. So there was like an episode, I think, of Chef's Table. I think one of the first few episodes, and I really believe this one chef, and I forgot who it is, but he basically said like the best food was made under like the roughest conditions because had to make do with what you had. So let's say kimchi, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
was not isn't a really a traditional recipe, if I'm correct. It was maybe crafted like after World War One, during World War Two, just because that's all they had or something of the sort. I don't know the exact story.
Yeah,
Same thing
kind of
with
out of
Lebanese food.
necessity.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Yeah.
crafted, perfected. Again, I don't know if anything was invented in Lebanon, but we definitely perfected it. So that's my hot take for the day.
So
So I'll leave it at that.
so what do you grow on your farm then?
Yeah.
You said vines a few
Yeah.
times, so I'm guessing is it
Yeah, we grow
grapes
olives.
or
Yeah, we
olives?
grow
Yeah.
olives and we grow grapes as well.
Okay.
And it's fun because I have a satellite image over the farm. Like I
Yeah.
use that service just to spy on my dad sometimes, just to see what he's up to. It's like Big Brother in the sky. So it's amazing because like I can even measure the humidity on the farm just based on satellite imaging, for
Wow.
instance.
Wow.
So you can see if somebody messed up with irrigation a tiny bit, like so. This little spot of water starts emerging. So it's technology is amazing in that way because a lot of the conversations that I'm able to have these days wouldn't have happened because it wasn't accessible at that time. But now I'm able to have a lot more sophisticated conversations. I'm able to see again what's being planted on the farm, how it's growing. Different technology gives you access to different things as well. So I mean, in this digital era that we're in right now, there's so much you can do if you're a little bit creative and willing to wake up early in the morning as well.
So
So no, it's fun.
so satellite imagery that you've subscribed to, I'm guessing, are
Yes.
you're getting real time like live feed from it?
Every day is a new image. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So is that do you um do that through Ag Expert? I mean, we're jumping ahead here, but just do you
Ag
use
Expert's geo locked, so
yeah.
I can't use Ag Expert in Lebanon,
Okay.
unfortunately. Even though I would love to,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I'm not even allowed to use my phone in Lebanon if I travel there. So just because it's a crown corporation, so there's a lot of like restrictions
Okay.
when traveling abroad. But yeah, Ag Expert's geo blocked in Lebanon, but I would be using it otherwise. It's the best software out there, and I'm not buying it.
We'll
Not
get to that.
bad.
We'll get to that. Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get to that. Yeah. I'm starting to sell stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it.
Does
That's fantastic.
so Tobin, you might have more questions about remote farming. I'm not
Well,
sure, but I just wanted
ahead,
to
go ahead.
ask a question about the grapes. So you talked about that winery, Chateau Moussard, was it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Chateau Moussard,
do you
yeah.
sell your grapes to them, or do you have your own wine? A bit of
We
both.
will we could sell grapes like generally to anybody as to a distributor. So most of these wineries don't they grow a lot of grapes for themselves, but you can sell directly to them or through an individual who will collect the grapes and then sell directly to them. They oftentimes try to supplement what they have from other growers in the region. So one could, for instance, do that. With the olives, it's really mainly for our again, olive oil is getting too expensive these days. So a lot of it
Mhm.
this year is going for internal family use. But again, with the local miller, they tend to take a part of that olive oil and then sell it. So again, different variety of sales models that they have in the region. But yeah, I think it's something that's it's something that still connects me to the land. It's something I love to pursue. So I think it's a really nice way, even like being far away from Lebanon, is a good way to talk to my dad every day. And it's fun. It's a fun family business. And in the
Awesome.
future, we'll we'll see if we make it into more of a boutique brand because I'm seeing way too many olive oil brands these days
Oh
becoming
yeah.
boutiques, and I'm getting jealous all the time. I'm just like, I could just do that. I could just slap
Yeah,
a
yeah,
nice
yeah, yeah. I could,
brand label
I
on
could do
it.
it better. Yeah, yeah,
I could do better.
yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
I've seen like there's this one olive oil company that's like worth billions of dollars now just because they put it in a ketchup bottle. It's crazy. So I'm just like, I could do that. So
Sure,
maybe next steps we'll see. Who knows? Tobin, so now I'm going to ask
sure.
questions
You
because I
ask
want
me.
to
Yes.
mix it up a
Yeah.
bit. Well, Tobin, what do you farm?
Oh, not grapes or dates or anything like that. It's wheat. So
Grapes and dates.
grapes and dates,
Like it.
uh, grain. So like wheat, wheat, barley, corn for the first time this year. So I'm southern Manitoba.
Okay.
I did corn,
Okay.
canola, soybeans. that's kind of what we grow here.
What got you into corn this year?
Great question. So lots of corn in my area. So like, neighbors, you just can't go 2 miles without encountering a cornfield. So that is was always of interest. It was never accessible to me because the narrative was always you need so much infrastructure. You need different planter, different harvester. You need storage. You need to dry it. But I was hearing more and more that like people are either selling wet or getting it custom dried. Selling off the field. You can use contractors for seeding and harvesting if you need to. So I figured with all the people doing it in my area, certainly there's a solution to all these things. There's answers to all these questions. So I started small, did 120 acres last year, and that worked out really well. I mean, fiscally, I mean, I contracted a lot of it out, and I sold kind of spots, sold it to a market that took it wet. So I won't have made as much as I could have on it. A lot of it went to the custom operators, but still was profitable even with all that.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And it sounds like you fought against that OEM propaganda. Fantastic.
Yes.
You didn't need a new planter. Yeah, you could just do it.
Just do it. I know. It was hilarious on the farm though, because I mean you can imagine my father was like, he was excited, but then he had all these questions for me. He's like, "Well, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that?" I'm like, "I don't know. We're going to figure this out." So, yeah, and it just kind of it worked. But
That's what you did was iterate and innovate. I love it.
Right on.
unintentionally, but I like that. I like that.
Oh, well, that's great.
Mohamad, you've had a few jobs, and we're not going to have time to get into all of them. But you sold fertilizer in North Africa. You were a journalist in New York City, which Toban has a question about, and then you worked for General Electric, KPMG, and RBC.
It's like a collection of Russian dolls.
Yeah.
We're all So they get bigger and bigger and bigger as you add a new job, and you just get more and more impressive. So out of all those jobs, were there specific times or events that were particularly foundational for you, bringing you to where you are now?
Ooh, foundational. Oh boy, that's a great question. I would say every role has had its unique. Look, I know this is going to sound so general, but work with me here for a second. But like again, every opportunity was unique. I would say in terms of just like the hardest growth imaginable. I think it would be when I had my own company, an ag tech startup called Raker. And honest to God, there is such a romance to entrepreneurism, that I think sometimes is so conflated, and it really. Not that I agree with a lot of what Elon Musk is doing, but I do agree with him that entrepreneurship is really like chewing glass every day. It really is like it's not easy. It's like it is, but all the like everything I gained from that experience, it feels now like it's like imagine you go to a gym and you put on the weights. Like you can crank up the weight to like something crazy, and then when you like take the weight down, it feels so much easier to lift those weights then. I feel that's how it is, especially with sales, for instance. It's not like I have to justify my existence when I go into a room, let's say about Ag Expert or Root, which I'll talk about more.
Yeah.
It is such an easier sell, not only because I know how to position it better, but also like because there's enough funds to do it, and it's not like I have a ragtag team of coders and people trying to keep the business afloat. It's like it's just that much easier. So again, I think I'm really thankful for the perspective it's given me because especially when we talk about innovation, especially in agriculture, it gives me such an appreciation not only for what needs to be done and how to help entrepreneurs and how can I help them as well from my position. But I would say even from, the way I think about innovation now, even at a crown corporation, I honestly, and again, this is going to be a tad bit dramatic, but so work with me again. When it comes into my position of either with root or ag expert, it sometimes feels like we're like NASA in a way, because we can invest a lot of hard dollars in projects to, again, it might not change the industry immediately, but it's going to have a big enough impact that it's going to move the needle a lot, so that others can understand what the standard is for digital solutions for farmers. So from that perspective, again, from all that experience within the company I had, I would say that would be the most foundational experience, for me today. But again,
Yeah.
every different part of my career has given me a lot of joy, a lot of learnings. At General Electric, I really came to appreciate the importance of policy, not only federal policy, but in municipal policy, even from how high a factory chimney has to be in a specific municipality in Ontario. And like the process you have to go through in order to build a factory. And even like the environmental laws that you appreciate, like honestly, it gives you such a deep appreciation, even though folks will complain about, policies and government. I think there's such an importance for those barriers to come in, because it just, again, we all want to build as fast as possible, but do we understand the consequences of building so fast sometimes? And sometimes just taking a step back and seeing, just evaluating everything really gives you a good perspective of like, what can this be to not only build fast, but how do we build sustainably, not only environmentally or financially, but even strategically for a company. So it's just a good way to like take a step back and think, okay, what is the impact we're having here as well. And even from a sales perspective, selling fertilizers, or at KPMG, where I was a consultant for data analytics solutions to different Fortune 500 companies, they all came along with a huge benefit. But I would also say RBC was an amazing part of that journey, just because I was able to have conversations with people like Jay in the industry,
This
have
guy.
really
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
foundational This guy, yeah,
Yeah.
this guy right here. So have those like foundational discussions about the industry, where we're going, and at the time there was a lot of room to think in a way where we could like push the boundaries, but like also understand the constraints. So like we may want to have all the money in the world, but like we don't. So what is a solution that's practical and something we can do tomorrow? And sometimes every idea isn't going to pass, and maybe even pass that bar. But sometimes, and I think I learned this as being a journalist, one of the best ways to get answers from people is to not ask the right question, but to ask the completely wrong question, because people are so much better at correcting you as opposed to giving you their just general thoughts.
That's a good
So
one. Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
felt that like give and take there was really important too. So
Right on.
that was a car accident of an answer. But there you go.
That's good.
But you want to ask about the New York thing, but I just
Also,
want
I want to ask about RBC as well.
Okay,
But
and
yeah.
then Raker was your company.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah. We had a hardware appliance, like a piece of hardware that would go into a circuit breaker of a livestock farm to measure energy efficiencies. So basically, it would not only measure how much energy a barn was using, but then take the energy signals using machine learning, understand the diagnostics of each and every single piece of equipment as well, based on those energy readings. So it was super useful for, let's say, dairies, because 10 dairy cows use as much electricity as one household. So that was the sell to producers, because we saw a lot of solutions on the market that were at the time focused on yields and like, we promise you will revolutionize your farm if you do X, but very few solutions focusing on like cost control, which I think is a very, again, convenient and thematic thing right now. But that was what we did at the time. But yeah.
So well, before we let this go entirely, so you manage your farm in Lebanon remotely, or some elements of it remotely, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
And what I think what's interesting about that is, I've thought about that a lot for my current farm, thinking about, as years go on, and I get busy with my other work, what that looks like. What is remote management of a farm look like? And it kind of, like, I think a lot of farms out there have a very traditional sense, especially in Western Canada, of you live on the farm, you take it over from your families, and you live here and you be here. And I think I think there might be some interest in hearing of about different models of farming. So yeah, if you could just talk about that a little bit, that'd be great.
WhatsApp is an incredible invention. You can communicate so fast. I think when it comes to, again, farming remotely, it's
Mhm.
all about communication, right? So again, making sure you have those touch points, making sure that you have that cadence with everybody, making sure that over communication is the default as opposed
Right.
to, again, like something you have to work towards, because if you don't have that over communication, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So thankfully my father and I, we over communicate far too often, even about things that we don't have to communicate, but it's still good. And I think it's that level of communication that is really helpful, because even though I'm not going to be there every day,
Hmm.
again, if something emerges on the farm, I'm able to, ask questions, and maybe it's something he didn't touch upon. And he's not on the farm every day either, because he lives in the capitals, but
Mm.
he goes there like all the time anyway. But it's an hour away, so it's not a big deal. But even with the folks on the farm, it's all about communication, right? And with the digital tools we have, like what can you operate remotely that is safe? Let's say irrigation, for
Hmm.
instance. You could have some mechanisms and tools that can operate remotely. And even if you look at technology today, there's so much access to those tools. Like uh, I'm pretty sure John Deere has a self-driving combine coming out pretty soon if
Sure.
they haven't
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna
Yeah.
come soon. So like the opportunity to farm remotely, not for the sake of it, but for you to have the ability to focus on other strategic elements of the farm
Hmm.
is coming to your doorstep.
Yeah.
And I think the opportunity hasn't like the opportunity hasn't been bigger for us as well. It's also about what you're able to do, and I think in a funny way, somebody in Lebanon told me, I'm going to take a long time to tell this story, so bear with me. So there was this gentleman who lives nearby, and he said a funny thing once, and he said like Lebanon is the future, and it's always stayed with me. Not because Lebanon is going to be like Japan with technology. It's just more about the as we discussed at the beginning about the geopolitical instability of the region. Whatever happens in the world, oftentimes is felt first there.
Mm.
When it comes to climate change, when it comes to, let's say, economic crises, when it comes to whatever is happening, if you think about it, like we're facing right now, maybe in Canada in certain ways, the brunt of it, let's say even the brunt of social media, because there's no regulation, there's barely any government intervention or regulation, you get the brunt of it first.
Mhm.
So when it comes to the way you operate a farm, is going to be completely different, and you have to be very self-dependent. And that's where I see a lot of producers going, is this that self-dependency route. On our farm, we haven't had 24-hour electricity from the government ever.
Mhm.
Maybe 1958 would be the last time, if I can make an assumption. So we've installed solar panels on the farm now, and that's giving the farm more electricity than we've ever had before. So we're becoming self-sufficient. So when it comes to that remote operation, I do see that as a future for certain operations, just because you're just going to have to be that much more self-sufficient. So let's say power generation, especially for, in regards to the company I had, there are certain models that will require them to install their own generator on a farm so that they can operate outside of peak hours, on their own generator,
Mm.
because maybe the energy bill is going to be too
Mm.
high. When I look at farms in Idaho, for instance, the farms we used to work with, the smallest one we worked with was around 12,000 head. That's the
Mm.
smallest one. So their energy bill was in the like, on an annual basis over $100,000. So it's a huge amount of like cost that's going into their operation. So how can you be more self-sufficient to limit those costs? So that's something I'm seeing more of. So when we talk about managing your operations more remotely,
Mm.
you're also going to have to be entrepreneurial as a producer as well, to see what are other opportunities that I can bring cash to the farm as well. And that's something I'm seeing across the board right now.
So
Fantastic.
yeah, so sorry, Jay. I
Yeah,
still
no,
have
no,
so many
this is
questions
great.
here,
Go
but
for it.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, in New York, like, so being in New York, that's interesting. My quick anecdote about New York was, so I come at farming from a journalism background too. I was
Okay.
first a journalist and came back to the family farm in 2012. But
How was it being a journalist?
I mean, I had a great, I had a great time. I mean, I worked at CBC Manitoba for a while here, and then I worked at the National Post in Toronto for a bit, and then Maclean's Globe and Mail had
Yeah.
I had a decent run, and then but I spent some time in New York for I think I was there with Corteva. I actually and I was able to sit in the morning editorial meeting at the New York Times. They
Oh
they were
wow.
flirting with the idea of letting me write an ag column for them, and I actually got to the point where I had my first column edited and vetted by them. It was approved and everything. And then last minute they just like they weren't sure about investing in ag, Canadian ag content, and then they backed out. But that was
Well, that's disappointing.
it is. It is. That would have been a very fun thing. So I can
Yeah.
appreciate that. But just to jump ahead, the RBC thing is interesting. So that RBC thought leadership, project, or that thing that's
Yeah.
happening is been around now for a few years. Some of my old coworkers from the National Post, I think are on that ship, or kind of came over with Stackhouse, or when he came.
Who? Yadula?
Okay, who are the main people there?
I know from the National Post it was Yadula who
No,
was on the national.
there was somebody.
He's an editor now there.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Um,
I know. Yeah, for sure that name. But there was somebody else. Woman, Sharon. Anyway, sorry. Go on. I'll push past. But so thought leadership. Your role there. Maybe talk a little bit about that. And thought leadership is a
yeah.
phrase we hear about so often in ag. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh boy, talk about a loaded question. I
Sorry.
love it. No, it's good. It's a good question. I would say what is an insight, right? And I would define an insight a piece of information that is revelatory enough to change your perspective on an issue. Um, I'm surprised I even came up with that definition as quickly as I did,
That's pretty good.
but I would say like it's based on that. Like, and I think in again there is a lot of thought leadership in the industry, and this is not to be facetious to anybody,
Mhm.
but it's just to say that yeah, there is a lot, and I think a lot of that research, again, it comes around for different reasons, but are you reaching that bar of changing your perspective, anybody, a reader's perspective
Mhm.
on the issue, so that they can think about the issue differently? That's the bar I try to aspire at. When I was at RBC,
Mhm.
I hope I reached it from time to time. But I think the reports that we worked on were revelatory in the sense of at the time I was working on the next food revolution, the next
Right.
ag revolution, something of the sort. John's gonna kill me now, but but it was really a series of reports focusing on different aspects of the industry. So like first off was technology. I wasn't part of that one, but that was a really great report. The second one was focusing on finances, like financial
Mhm.
ways to help farms with sustainability. What are some new financial instruments? They continue on to labor, which was a really big success, and then afterwards policy
Mhm.
too. Ultimately, overall, I think the I think it's about you have to balance two things within ag thought leadership. It's first off, is what you're proposing to, let's say, any relevant body who is being proposed to, is it practical enough so that I could actually start doing this tomorrow? As opposed to saying, we need X dollars in order to do this initiative. Because I think once you start getting funding involved, in terms of like not in terms of planning the scope of the solution, it's more of like saying that we need X dollars to move the industry forward. I think you've lost the audience.
Mhm.
But on the flip side, outside the industry, you're also having to tailor your reports to folks who might not understand the day-to-day environment of agriculture in Canada. What are those challenges? So that's how you have to. It's a balancing act ultimately, but fundamentally is, are you providing that revelatory piece of information
Mhm.
to change someone's way they approach an issue? That's the way I would define thought leadership in the industry.
Well, I was just thinking, like, to zoom forward now, as we progress
Okay.
with this conversation. Because I just because it ties together. So we often hear, like Toban said, words like or phrases like thought leadership. We hear innovation a lot, which you will talk about, and the word how and productivity and how Canadians aren't as productive as we need to be. But there's rarely any solutions or actions. We just say we're not good enough, and then walk away. But you said practical things that people can start doing today, and I think maybe that's where you are now. If we talk about the path of your career with Ag Expert, I mean, I feel like, and then you can help define what Ag Expert is and does exactly for farmers. But I feel like it's actually where all of these words and phrases actually come to the point of being practical. Is that fair?
Like
That's.
Go ahead.
I wish you were with me every day. I could totally use that. That's totally fair. And when it comes to Ag Expert, again, it's been with part of FCC for over 23 years, and now you can tell the autopilot's coming into play right now. So Ag Expert's been part of FCC for 23 years. It provides a digital software management tool to over 27,000 farmers across the country on over 7 million acres of managed farmland. I like to equate the acreage to country size, so that is equivalent about roughly the size of Belgium. So it's an incredible amount of information. We are the first software tool in Canada to have ag data transparency. So essentially, our users own their data. We're not doing anything with your data you wouldn't want us to do otherwise. But our mission is right now providing two tools. First off is accounting. It's the only bespoke agricultural accounting platform in Canada. And then secondly, we have Field, which is a cost of production tool effectively that helps you manage and understand your costs. The reason I love this tool is we've seen that farmers, and this was a study we did with Statistics Canada earlier this year, or last year, and we saw that farmers who use Ag Expert compared to those who don't, farmers who use Ag Expert have a productivity increase of 7%. And when it comes to digital solutions, those are the sort of reports you will run to the market with, right? So I have been bragging about this fact for a few months now. It's tattooed on my body somewhere. But it's a really exciting tool because, again, 23 years, we're able to leverage a lot of information there to now help producers in Canada with more data analytics to help them benchmark. We're scaling up different initiatives at the moment that are really exciting. And it goes back to what you were saying, Jay. It is practical at the end of the day. It's something I can use tomorrow and I don't have to learn how to use. And I think when it comes to innovation, one of the big landmines we fall into is do I have to relearn a system in order to use the tool? Or do I have to change the way I operate in order to incorporate whatever I'm purchasing into my operations? And funny enough, from my time at KPMG, because I'm reflecting right now, I've seen the same challenges at corporations when they're implementing a enterprise software. The same thing on a farm. It doesn't change. It's the same thing where if you try to replace an entire system that's been built the ground up using a traditional piece of software and you're now introducing a new system, it's not going to work. And it's the same thing on the farm because when you're trying to introduce new software that is changing the way you fundamentally do your work, you're asking people to not only pay, but also have to learn something new that's going to take a certain amount of time. And I think as much as we talk about innovation, it's also a design challenge as well. So the reason why Ag Expert, in my opinion, has been successful is because we've been able to stay innovative, but we've designed it for the farm. It's simple, solid, built for the farm. It's all connected together where you can start using it tomorrow, but you don't need to take 5 orientation classes to learn how to use it, essentially. Not the spirit.
I got it. You want to get in before I'm going to start talking?
Yeah. Well, all I was going to say was that, I mean, it's sort of sounding a bit like an ad for Ag Expert, which isn't what we necessarily want to talk about. But I think the core fundamentals are sound, and this is something Mohamad, that you talked about a couple of times is that just again, I think how I would frame this is when I think of innovation, my brain often goes to, some tool to use out in the field. Some thing that'll measure the weather or that does variable rate or section control on drills. But in some ways, we kind of need to go back to a real fundamental skill, which is bookkeeping or accounting or cost management, and just starting tracking those things and going back to a fundamental skill that maybe needs to get refreshed. I don't know if you have a comment on that, but
Yeah, I see this all the time. I think one of the biggest buzzwords right now and the biggest cliches is artificial intelligence. You can slap AI onto anything, and all of a sudden, people it seems to
we'll
be the
give money.
thing you say these
Yeah.
days. We'll throw money at
Yeah.
it. What fundamentally is artificial intelligence is it is advanced statistical pattern recognition. And in order to have AI, you need to have the right data. And the right data starts from if you're managing your costs effectively. Because if you're, or even the way you account for your yields effectively. Because if you're not having proper documentation of your skills, or like whatever you're doing on the farm, and you're not having that robust, let's say even Excel sheet, right? How are you supposed to monitor and save then? So, and that really feeds into this whole AI discussion thing that I don't know if we're going to enter it a bit, but it's one of the big challenges because when it comes to data quality, it's a huge issue in ag because again, I can tell you, I've seen glyphosate spelled in a million different ways. It's pretty amazing. Like you can attempt a weird spelling of glyphosate. I can tell you, I've seen it before, even with the U. So it's fundamentally starts from the data you collect, the way you manage your costs. It comes from those core skills, right? Of bookkeeping, making sure that your records are right, because you leverage any greater tool if you're not managing those processes effectively right now.
So I got to we can get into the root and some of the other things right away. But so ag expert, quick little aside. Hopefully some humor in this. I have been paying for ag expert now for 5 years, I would say. And
Congratulations.
and
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm an especially great customer because I pay for it and I don't even use it. So here's the thing. So I pay Ag Expert every year. I all of a sudden get an invoice in my email. It's like, thank you for renewing your subscription to Ag Expert. It's like hundreds of dollars, right? I'm like, oh shoot. I guess I should either figure out how to use this program or cancel my subscription. So I've never canceled because I'm like, I'm gonna start.
Okay.
So my question to you is very practical.
Yeah.
You mentioned this a couple times that you could start tomorrow. We've said it now. I've heard it twice at least in this conversation. So I want to start tomorrow. How do I start tomorrow? So part of the intimidation for sure as a farmer is the demand on time is huge, right? So I have a farm and I have this Burr Forest Group company. So it is like chewing glass every day. I like that one. and B, so there's a bit of an intimidation with like I just feel like I'm going to open this program and it's going to ask me 1 trillion questions about my operation. That's going to require me to go deep into my paperwork, and I'm going to just be like, you know what? I have a conference to go to tonight that goes into tomorrow. I don't have time for this. So, and I'm going to put it off for another 6 months or another 5 years. How do I get started?
Breathe.
Okay.
First of all.
Okay.
It's going to be okay. Second, open
Circulate.
your account.
Okay.
Third, you can actually take pictures of, let's start with this year.
Sure.
We don't have to go into the past.
Okay.
Take pictures of receipts. Just take pictures of them right now. What you can do then is upload those receipts into Ag Expert, and it will use technology that will parse the wording on those receipts or whatever documents you have and incorporate it automatically into Ag Expert. So it's this thing called OCR. So basically your data will be taken from the camera of your phone. Once you upload that picture, That data will be then taken and then automatically uploaded into Ag Expert. So you don't have to manually type anything. So that would be one effective way of getting started in accounting. You don't have to do anything. It will do it for
Sure,
you.
sure. I mean, I have a bookkeeper and I use QuickBooks Online, so I mean, there's some integrations there, but yeah.
Oh no, QuickBooks! Come on,
I know.
You got to change that.
Yeah, well, see,
Yeah.
could I run Burr Forest Group through Ag Expert then too? It's an egg company.
You know what? Let's try.
Yeah.
We can always
Let's
try.
try. Let's try. Anyways, go on, Jay.
Well, I'm just going to say, like, for if Toban started tomorrow, if he bought, say, a load of fertilizer or a truckload of fertilizer to come into the yard, so every time he picks up an input, take a picture of it. And it goes, would it go right into, so rather than folding up your receipt and putting it in your pocket and like, oh, right, my receipt, like 6 months later.
Yeah.
If you're right there at the retailer, take a picture then.
Take a picture.
So then it's done.
Yeah, yeah.
Smile, take a picture.
Smile, take a
It's done.
picture. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Anyways,
Filing taxes has never been easier.
I'm going to get started with Egg Expert. Is the moral of the story.
Thank
go.
you. Thank you for
So
your
by the
support.
time this airs,
Thank you for supporting Canadian innovation.
Yeah.
well, so actually, I was going to mention this. I don't know whether we want to get to root, and we want to get to a bit about communications. But just like if Mohamad, I know long answers are your thing because you're a communicator. But is it possible to give me a 30-second history of Ag Expert? Because it came from a farmer on a farm, didn't it? Like its origins go way back pre-FCC.
30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds. It was
Yeah. Give or take.
30, give or take. It started in the late 80s, if I'm correct. It was acquired by FCC in 2002. It was originally called Settler, and it was an accounting platform for farmers then. But FCC acquired it in 2002, and here we are today.
Look at
I
that.
hope that was
You did that in
was
under
pretty
30
good.
seconds.
That was
I
pretty
love
good.
that.
Yeah.
There we go. Hey.
I think we just have to give a plug for small town on-farm innovation, even on the crop management
go.
side of things. Okay.
Let's get to root.
You want to go to root? Yeah. Okay.
I think so.
What is root?
Yeah.
30 seconds?
No,
No,
you
you
can-
got more. You got more time.
So, Root is FCC's introduction to large language models for Canadian agriculture. We help producers access the power of large language models through Root today. The way we started this is because at FCC, we are really deliberate about talking to our customers as often as we can. In fact, we talk to our customers every day. So one of the things we obtained through a lot of our interviews was, a lot of folks had told us they were missing access to advisory services on the go. And one example that emerged time and time again was extension centers, right? Or extension service centers.
Yeah.
Hence the extensionists, right?
Exactly.
So
Thank you.
that's one thing we saw missing from the industry. It's, again, we all know it's changed because of different, again, the way the service is delivered, the way things are financed as well. But ultimately, they wanted that touch and go advisory service, a bit of like a speed dial for advisory services. So that's how the initiative started. And large language models came into it really easily because, again, it was instant. It gave them knowledge on the go, and they could consult with it. It asks a series of questions, and they get their answers on the go. Essentially, is what they wanted to see. So Root emerged, and we started it, launched it in July publicly, and we partnered with Results-Driven Agriculture Research. To acquire some information. What we wanted to do was provide Canadian producers with tailored, curated Canadian ag trusted content, essentially. Can we provide, through a large language model, credible and trusted verifiable sources for them to use? And what we've seen lately is a lot of other jurisdictions internationally mimic that approach. So in China, for instance, they launched their open source large language model for agriculture. Maybe that was 2 weeks ago. We see Land O'Lakes having their own large language model as well. And it's a really effective tool because if you're going to ask a producer to go through a crop guide that's 800 pages long, again, challenging.
Yeah.
But if you ask a large language model, can you find me that relevant piece of information? It can get you that instantly. So It's a really great tool because it's able to synthesize information, give it to people on the go, and then it's also able to recognize images as well. So let's say there's a problem with an engine. If you take a picture of it and upload it to Root, we have more than an 85% confidence interval that it's going to recognize it and diagnose the problem for you. So it's really like a virtual extension service. So this is why I was really excited about this.
No doubt.
Well, how can we pair podcast to large language model?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how we can connect the dots here?
Well,
This is
so
really-
in terms of a communication tool, like, do you see these things being sort of the first point of contact now for a lot of companies and institutions, rather than say a website? I mean, it's on a website, but I mean, you're just going right in there. You're getting all of the website's data within one sort of question and answer interface. Like, it seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, I would say like we're like outside agriculture on the whole, that is actually what's driving a lot of site traffic these days.
Yeah.
So outside Google, like ChatGPT, for instance, is driving a lot of that website traffic these days. So that's really interesting to see. That in TikTok as well.
Yeah.
Take it as you
Sure.
will.
Not surprising. Yeah.
When it comes to what we're doing with Root, what's interesting is that we're not only scraping, we're not technically scraping. I can't say that. My legal department will be upset with me. We do obtain information from wherever we can legally, of course, but we're also accessing sources from organizations like, let's say, RDAR, for instance. They do a lot of research. Can we provide regionally focused information to our producers using RDAR's research? Yes. It is these partnerships that's going to help us grow, because the more partners we have across the country, the more regionally specific we can get and provide more tailored recommendations. I don't suspect large language models are ever going to replace experts. It's not what the tool was designed for. It will provide is a first line of knowledge, and then afterwards can give farmers a sufficient base of information so that they can ask better questions.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it going at the moment. So I don't see it, again, replacing anybody. I think it is actually going to really help enhance the experience for producers with their experts.
How is it available now? Like, how can I interact with it? Can I?
Of course, okay, on your farm, go to fcc.ca.
There we go.
And under the resources tab, you'll see Root AI. Just click it and start asking any question you want to ask it.
Nice.
I
nice.
asked about farm profitability. A pretty generic question, I must admit. I mean, I didn't get into the specifics of a problem with my engine, which I love that that's a possibility. But it actually created it was a perfect 5-point step-by-step on how to increase farm profitability.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, no, it was good. I asked that because it's something with my other job with the Canola Council of Canada that we're obviously always interested in, is on-farm profitability and whole industry profitability.
Yeah.
And I just thought I would start with something like that, and I was happy with my answer.
Well,
I'm happy to hear that. That's great.
Does it integrate with Ag Expert? Does Root?
Coming soon.
Okay,
We're
okay.
exploring. I think right now we're experimenting with Root and seeing what's the possibility of it. I think moving forward, we're going to be adding agents to it. So essentially, it can function and can do things for producers that they don't want to do.
Right.
So more to come on that. But it's exciting because we really see this as an opportunity to eliminate a lot of like paperwork for producers. So more to come on that. Maybe if I'm invited back, I can tell you a bit more about what we're doing once it's launched, and maybe show it to you guys on the go. But so that's it's not integrated with Ag Expert just yet, but we're looking into it at the moment because, again, to your point, there's a clear opportunity there for sure.
Yeah.
So you said that Root is not going to be necessarily replacing kind of face-to-face, but face-to-face with everybody is not practical. But this is a broader question. I just want to know, with all your experience in communications, what are the best ways to get a point across to people?
I am to getting a point across. I think it's. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah,
question?
well, I that was probably too vague. But in extension, we have all of this ideas and expertise. And I'm not saying the extensionist necessarily has all the expertise, but in the world of
we have most of
extension,
it, but yeah.
the point of it is to impart wisdom, but there also has to be that give and take. You don't want to just be spouting advice because nobody wants to get unsolicited advice. So do you wait for people to come to you if you're a company trying to get some, well, let's just say with Ag Expert or with Root, like how do you get people to engage or use these tools in ways that doesn't come across as necessarily an advertisement?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's the ever, I think it's the constant question we have to ask ourselves within, when it comes to software. So it's definitely not something easy to solve, but the way we've approached it is really looking at it from a design angle. When you're creating the software itself, how easy is it to use from the get-go? Like again, like you can have the best data scientists, and I learned this at KPMG. You can have the best data scientists in the world, but sometimes the way they communicate the solution, it just goes over your head. So you might have something really brilliant there, but you just don't know how to use it because it just isn't clear. So I think, and I'm not going to harp on anybody else's innovation here, but there are several models out there right now that were really intended to help producers understand, let's say maybe their carbon footprint, but it was really long and lengthy to use. So when it's the experience of it, it's like how fast, like when can I use it, right? So like, can you use Ag Expert tomorrow? Like technically, yes, you can. Will you have to learn a few things? Like for sure, like anything else, right? But can you make the experience accessible enough so that I have all the tools immediately to start understanding the implication of the different advice I'm getting? For sure. So it's one of those things where you have to balance it, where it's like when it comes to the advice that we provide, like short, succinct, based on credible, trusted data sources of Canadian ag. That's where we start with. And if producers want to learn more, they can ask more and dive deeper into those questions. For me, like our measure of success is how human does the experience feel? And we've had a few folks feel that like they're talking to an actual person on the go, which was super interesting. And that was a good sign of success. But we also want to balance it with like how much time you spend on it because we want people to interact with the tool more. So we're happy to see that on average farmers interact with Root for over 14 minutes and 30 seconds, which is really good, but we're going to continue and try to improve that experience for producers out there.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
I I love talking about food, and you mentioned that Lebanon has the best food in the world, and then we quickly hustled on to the next part of the conversation, and I think I need to go back to that.
Okay.
And what should I be eating if I want to try the real Lebanese experience?
Real Lebanese experience. So my favorite salad is tabbouleh. Is parsley, thinly cut up, with burgle, red onions, tomatoes, with lemon dressing, salt, olive oil, really good olive oil, and pepper as well.
Is there couscous or anything in that, or is it just straight veg?
There's burgle.
Oh.
Yeah. So burgle is like cracked wheat.
Okay.
So I think Manitoba could be a leading producer of burgle if they wanted to, but I don't know if
Maybe
a
we
lot of
should
folks
be.
are familiar with it. But I think it is like couscous maybe in
Okay.
a way. It's just like much smaller.
Okay.
So it's like it's not like an actual dough ball, but it is like much smaller cracked wheat essentially that you boil and you add to salad.
Okay.
So yeah, but have that hummus as well.
Yeah.
Best thing in the world, along with a few cubed meats, so like chicken or like beef, and you're ready to rock and roll. Again, it's
sounds
really
so good.
hard to find a good place, Lebanese place in Toronto, because I feel they overcompensate for some reason. So like, let's say they'll give you like a mega sandwich, and you're just like, I don't need everything in there. Just give me like simple. Simple is best when it comes to Lebanese. So if the person who's managing the restaurant gives you like a chicken sandwich, like a touk sandwich, or even a shawarma sandwich, just all you need is like the protein, the sauce, which with chicken is garlic sauce, but it has to be a specific type of garlic sauce. And again, I can take days explaining this to you both, so I'm gonna pace myself here. But essentially, it can't be creamy. It has to be like somewhat solid in a way. So there's like a balance to the sauce itself
Yeah.
that's important, and then it can't be like an oversized sandwich because then you lose the whole effect of it because you're supposed to focus on the two like a few ingredients
Yeah,
and
yeah.
flavors. So and it's supposed to like connect together because mezes, which is basically Arabic for like a spread, is super important in any Lebanese tradition. So, or like in any Lebanese dining experience. So if you don't have the meze, like you're not having the full experience.
Interesting.
I've seen that term before. Yeah, okay, amazing.
My only thing, so I was a journalist in Lac La Biche, Alberta for a stint, and my landlord was was Lebanese, and so
We're everywhere. We're like vermin.
yeah, no. So, but he gave me a hookah. He gave me a Lebanese.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, I still have it. It's somewhere in the house. Yeah,
Have you used that, or is it
nice.
still in the box?
No, I used it. I haven't used it in years, but for sure.
I've never tried hookah.
That's the
before.
nicest landlord I've ever heard of.
That was very sweet. Yeah.
That's nice
He'd
of
host
him.
like big poker nights at his house, and every once in a while I'd join in, and then I expressed
that's nice.
interest in the hookah. Then I think it's from Lebanon. Like I think he went there and brought
nice.
back a whole bunch. Yeah.
And did the landlord also cook for you?
No, sadly no.
shoot.
Sadly no. No.
I've never heard of a landlord giving a tenant anything because I live in Toronto, so like that's
Except the finger.
opposite of every experience I've heard. So, but that's a really nice experience. I'm happy for you, and I'm glad that he represented Lebanon well there.
So okay, I know we are way over time, but quick anecdote. Toronto. So I lived on Palmerston Avenue between College and Dundas for a couple of years, and my landlord. So it's Little Portugal. My landlord's Portuguese, elderly Portuguese couple, every Friday would make my wife and I homemade pizza and give us a bottle of homemade wine.
That's so
They
nice.
were
Wait, homemade
Yeah.
in Toronto?
Homemade.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You are brave, sir.
It was.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like it was okay, right? It was like
someone in Health Canada right now woke up and
big
was like,
time.
"What's going on?"
Just this unlabeled bottle coming up the stairs with this great pizza. But they were the sweetest. They were the sweetest. Anyway, so
Well, that's amazing.
yeah.
Swedish?
Would you say Swedish? Say the sweetest.
Anyway, Mohamad, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you
I
for
enjoyed
having
the
me.
conversation.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Hey there, listeners. If you're enjoying the conversations here on The Extensionists, you will probably love to get our newsletter.
Yeah, it's the best way to stay connected with us, with Jay and myself, yours truly. I'm excited about the newsletter, to be honest with you, because I think
Why are you excited
well,
about
so many of our guests have
Sorry. Why are you excited about it?
Say that differently, Jay. So many of our guests they say so many things of interest, right? And I feel like the newsletter will be a great way to share that with our listeners.
Like quick take-homes?
Yeah.
Summaries?
Yeah, absolutely.
One-liners?
Absolutely. I think about each guest, we could probably write a whole bunch of articles from each of our guests, right? So to give our newsletter subscribers like summaries of the key takeaways of these things, plus information on upcoming guests, all the listeners have to do is go to theextensionists.com and follow the prompts to sign up for the newsletter. I think it'll be great.
Well, that was a great conversation.
It was. We could have gone on,
I know.
like with everybody, for
Like,
another couple hours.
Yeah,
For
there wasn't
sure.
enough time to dig deep on a lot of that stuff. But so what's your take home with regard to Ag Expert? You were very honest there. I appreciated that.
Well, I feel
Still in the box.
the more candid we can be, the more candor we exhibit or express in these podcasts, the better they'll be. Lay it all out there. I think it's encouraging. It's inspiring. I should just get going on it. It is a tool that I hear is quite useful, and I'm really curious about the root AI thing.
But I feel like sometimes with all these tools and innovations is that once you've identified where they meet a need, then you're motivated. But if right now it's not fitting a specific need for you, I don't think your response should be, I should do that.
So everything requires management, right? Like, and I don't think that's a fairly profound thing to say. So you onboard a new tool, you bring in even these AI things, like even, we have ChatGPT, we have like a trillion options, and every day there's a new thing. These things take something from us, right?
Yeah.
It's a block of time. It's a little bit of space in our lives that get chewed up by these new platforms. And you're like, yeah, they're exciting. There's a novelty when you go to them for the first time, but to actually develop a space for them, it's something completely different, right?
Yeah.
And it's a I think of Ag Expert. Yeah, it's great, and I know it's a good tool, but yeah, that's going to take a chunk of my time.
Yeah.
And
you've already got a bookkeeper and a platform.
And I use QuickBooks, and but I don't doubt. I have no doubt that it'll offer me something that those things can't.
Yeah.
And will actually enhance maybe both of those things. But,
and I think that, in agriculture and in all businesses, that time spent bookkeeping, managing costs, the return on investment for that time is often quite high, even though it doesn't sound like something you want to be spending time on.
But I would agree with you.
But if you don't want to do it yourself, hire someone to do it. I just think there's a lot of space there for enhanced profitability. That's my hunch.
Oh, I would agree with you 100%. I think it's an interesting topic, though, this whole like things taking space in farmers' brains, or in all of our brains, in terms of innovation as well, right? So innovation is one of those terms that's pretty exciting because it's like, it's, whatever it means to you, it's new, it's, kind of tech, it's future looking.
Yeah.
These things take space. Yeah. They take space, and there are already lots of things that take space in our lives, right?
And what I really want to make space for is some of that tabbouleh and falafel or hummus and those cubed meats with that garlic sauce.
It did sound really good as he was describing it. So what are your takeaways? Is that?
Well, I wrote down the word over communication with 2 check marks beside it. And I think he made the point about the WhatsApp.
So you over-endorsed the word over communication. Anyway.
Well, I'm just thinking if the choice is under communication, over communication, I guess we should choose over communication every time.
I guess so.
It's probably better to say things twice than not at all. That's just so that would be my takeaway, is that if you feel like something isn't getting through, then say it again, without frustration or judgment, if that's possible.
Yeah. I would agree. Like that. Yeah. Once again, thank you to our episode sponsor, Sask Oilseeds. Please make sure to sign up for their March 13th webinar, where they'll share results from Sask Oilseeds' 2025 on-farm research trials
and information about how to take part in the 2026 trials. Visit saskoilseeds.com to sign up. I think we can move on to the next episode.
I think we can. I think we can too.
This has been The Extensionists. I'm Jay Whetter.
And I'm Toban Dyck.
Till next time. This has been a Burr Forest Group production.
We also want to thank the people working behind the scenes to make this podcast happen.
Abby Wall is our producer and editor.
Ashley Robinson is our coordinator.
And Michelle Holden is our designer.